everyone. Welcome back to our fourth lesson in our series about narrative stories. Today, we're going to be talking about conflict. So, first, we're going to talk about what is conflict. Then, we're going to talk about types of conflict. And lastly, we'll look at a quick example. So, conflict in a story is what challenges a character. It is important in moving the story forward. So we've already learned how to write about characters and establish these characters, and also how to establish the setting. But the conflict is what really brings the story to life. So what is a conflict? The conflict is the problem or challenge that the main character faces. It makes the story exciting and gives it direction. In other words, your character wants something, but something else is in the way. That thing that is in the way is your conflict. So, what is the purpose of conflict? Well, without conflict, your story might be boring. So, an example is Leo went to school, he went home. The end. But if we talk about conflict, we have this other example. Leo wanted to make a friend, but he was too shy to talk to anyone. So here, the conflict is that Leo is too shy to talk to anyone, and it's getting in the way of his goal of making a friend. Now, as a reader, I am interested in the story. I want to learn more about Leo. I want to learn more about the conflict. I want to learn how the conflict is resolved, which is something that we'll talk about in another lesson later on. So now we're curious what will happen. Like I said earlier, now the reader is wondering about Leo. Will he overcome his fear? Will someone help him? So now let's talk about some types of conflict. So we have three main types of conflict. Number one, person versus person. Number two, person versus self. And number three, person versus nature. So a person versus person conflict is about a problem that someone has with someone else. For example, an argument with a bully, a misunderstanding, a student arguing with a teacher. It is one person disagreeing or having a problem with someone else. Now we have person versus self, and this is an internal problem. It means a problem happening inside the character. This could be fear, insecurity, trouble with decision making, because these are all things that are happening within a single character, usually the main character. And then we have person versus nature, and this is a problem with the environment. For example, your character gets lost in a storm. So some key vocabulary that we want to know in this lesson are character setting, conflict, and resolution. Just like before, we want to bring this up so we can have this reminder about the vocabulary. So the character is the person or animal in a story. Setting is where and when the story happens. A conflict is what we're talking about now, and it's the problem in the story. And the resolution is how the problem is solved. I'm bringing this up because we want to look specifically at the order in which we're establishing these things. We want to make sure that we know about the character and the setting, and we've established this baseline before we get to the conflict, because the conflict is the problem that changes, that is different from the baseline. So we need to make sure that we establish these basic settings and characters, this baseline, before we have the conflict. So now let's look at a quick example. So let's go back to Leo, our character from earlier lessons. Just a reminder, Leo is 13 years old, he's shy and he likes science. A setting is a noisy middle school that he goes to. Now, a conflict might be that Leo wants to make a friend, but he's too afraid to talk to anyone because he's shy. This conflict is simple, personal, and clear. But it's also a conflict that many readers can understand, which makes the story feel real. We don't need a super complicated conflict, but we need it to make sense to the reader. We need to make it real to the reader. So thank you for listening, everyone. Our homework assignment is posted on Google Classroom and it is called The Main Conflict. Please make sure that you guys are getting your assignments in on time so that we can provide you all with feedback, and I look forward to seeing all your work. Thank you so much for listening.